Hey guys, welcome to another video on my channel. So today I'm going to be basically talking about the Shrek movie. So yeah, also I will try to be mindful of what I say in these videos. I'll try to think before I say. So yeah. Also before I get into it, please make sure you do like and subscribe because it means the absolute world to me. So yeah. So the first Shrek movie is, like, if you haven't seen it, let me just tell you what it's basically about. So in the first movie, there's this ogre called Shrek who's basically his goal in life is to be left alone. But that will change because one day he went into the woods and he met Donkey. And then Donkey followed Shrek all the way back to his swamp when Shrek wanted to obviously be left alone. And when Shrek got back to his swamp, he found loads of like people and like fairies and stuff there. And basically he got very annoyed, and so he went all the way to Duloc, and so yeah, he went all the way to Duloc, and Lord Farquaad basically said, hey, I will make sure nobody comes to your swamp if you do something for me. And basically what Lord Farquaad wants is he basically wants to marry a princess to be king. And so he chooses Princess Fiona. And so he's like, hey, if you go find this princess called Princess Fiona, she's locked away in this castle where there's like a dragon in it. So yeah, so Shrek and Donkey go to the castle, and Shrek basically takes Princess Fiona out of the, like, basically saves her from the dragon, takes it out of the castle, but Donkey and Dragon, and the dragon's called Dragon. So basically Donkey and Dragon, they fall in love. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, then when they get out of the castle, Princess Fiona's like, hey, take off this armor you have on. Then when Shrek does, he takes it off, and basically this, like, Princess Fiona was imagining, like, you know, a human prince, not Shrek. So yeah. Then Princess Fiona, Shrek and Donkey go back to Duloc, and on the way back, the sun sets, and basically Princess Fiona is like, hey, let's rest for the night. And it's because what she doesn't want Shrek and Donkey to know is that she's secretly like an ogre, and she just doesn't want to tell them because she doesn't know what they'll think of it. So yeah. Then they stay for like a night, then the next day they keep going, and then there's like these like people, then there's these like men who come up and want to like be like, hey, marry me. Like, they go up to Fiona and be like, hey, marry me. But then Princess Fiona fights them, and she also she blows up like a bird when she sings as well, or something else. So yeah, she fights, she sings, she turns into an ogre. Yeah, because she was cursed like that when she was born. So yeah. And on the way back, Shrek and Fiona kind of like sort of flirt, you know, they sort of flirt. Then they're very near Duloc, but they stay for one more night. And Donkey finds out that Fiona is an ogre, and Fiona's like, oh, I hate being an ogre, it's the worst thing in the world. And she's like, Donkey, don't tell anyone. But Shrek kind of sort of like walks by and hears, and he sort of like interprets this as like, oh, she doesn't like me for me, like she doesn't like ogres. So yeah, but then next day, Lord Farquaad arrives. Then Princess Fiona, like his thing, Lord Farquaad's short, and yeah. Anyway, so Princess Fiona was like, I like in her head she was like, imagine you sort of like taller, but in reality she was like, oh, okay. So yeah, then basically Shrek and Fiona argue. Then this whole montage of like sadness and, you know, wanting everyone to come back together happens. Then basically the wedding happens, and Shrek's like Fiona and Shrek sort of like reconcile, because Shrek sort of interrupts the wedding, and Shrek says, oh, Lord Farquaad just wants to marry you because he wants to be king. So yeah, then everyone finds out that Fiona turns into an ogre. Then Lord Farquaad's like, yeah, I don't want to marry you anymore. Guards, I'm putting my guards on you. So yeah, then the dragon comes in and sort of chomps Lord Farquaad. Then Shrek and Fiona get married, and that's that. Also, Fiona stays as her ogre self as well. So yeah, that's basically the whole of the movie of Shrek in the sort of summary in like a few minutes. So yeah, anyway, so let me just talk about the movies now, so that you know what sort of like, yeah. So yeah, let me talk about the movies now. So I was looking at the review for the first Shrek film, and I would say from my point of view, is that I would say it did all right as a film. I saw somewhere basically, like I saw on YouTube basically saying that the Shrek film made more money than the Harry Potter film. I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, anyway, let me show you the review Shrek got. So those were basically the ratings for Shrek, and I got to say, like I said, I think it did very well. It had like a sort of structure of Mask fell down again. It had this sort of structure of like beauty's on the inside and not the outside. It basically has like, you know, that sort of like message. Like whenever I watch the films, that's the sort of message I got from watching the Shrek films. So yeah, and it just it had a bit of comedy, like, you know, childish comedy, like, you know, coming from Donkey, who was like, Donkey's like, you know, a bit of a goofball. He he just like, you know, wants to have a good time, like, you know, have a good time every single, like, you know, minute. Like, you know, he wants to, like, you know, help out with Shrek because he wants to be friends with Shrek. So yeah, and like, you know, during the movie, Shrek sort of like was like, hey, I want to be friends. I want to, like, you know, I don't want to live alone anymore. So yeah, he's sort of like, Shrek sort of like opened up throughout the whole, like, you know, giving, like, taking Fiona to Duloc. Yeah, he sort of like changed up the whole sort of movie. So yeah, so the message I got was like, you know, you should, so the message, I can't speak today. So the message I got was that beauty's on the inside, and it's like the other message I got from watching the films when I was younger was no matter what, you have your friends. So yeah, that's the other message I got. But still, I think it still had like, you know, a very solid sort of still had a very solid sort of like message towards the film. So yeah. Now let's talk about the second movie. So basically, the second movie is basically Shrek and Fiona got married. They've had their honeymoon, and now they're going to meet Fiona's parents. So yeah, and Shrek's basically a bit nervous about how he'll like, you know, interact with Fiona's parents. Like, you know, he doesn't know, like, he's scared of like they won't accept her as like an ogre, and also him. So yeah, but when they get there, the mum's like, "Ooh, this is a nice surprise. I don't mind this." And her dad and Fiona's dad, like King Queen, by the way, Fiona's dad's basically like, this doesn't feel right. She should have turned human and married a human prince. So yeah. So then basically the king, he's like, I need someone to get this ogre away. Because the fairy godmother in this has a son, Prince Charming. And basically Prince Charming's like, I could, like, fairy godmother and Prince Charming are like, we could break the curse if basically ogre's out the picture, and she becomes a human. I think I haven't watched the second movie, but I remember parts of it, I think. So yeah, it's basically So Prince Charming also has like the same sort of like, he basically had the same sort of like, you know, dream as like Lord Farquaad, him becoming king. So yeah. Then during this whole time, Shrek didn't feel like, you know, I don't think he felt like he was good enough for Fiona. So basically, he went to Fairy Godmother's like spell factory. Oh yeah, by the way, on the way we got introduced to Puss in Boots. That basically the king hired him to like take out the ogre. So yeah, but Puss didn't do it in the end, as you can tell from the other Shrek movies. So yeah, but then Puss was like, "Hey, I want to be friends with you now." So yeah. Then basically, so yeah, they went to a fairy godmother's cottage. Cottage, was it? No, it was factory. What am I talking about? Factory. So yeah, they went to fairy godmother's factory, and basically they found this potion that was like, you know, could make, apparently from Shrek, could make Fiona happy. So yeah, so they take the potion, stuff happens, chaos happens in the factory, and yeah, and so Donkey and Shrek drink the potion, and at first nothing happens, but the next day they turn into like different things. Like Shrek turns into a human, and Donkey turns into a donkey. No, Donkey turns into a horse. I cannot speak today. I cannot. Anyway, so then basically Fairy Godmother finds out about this, and she's like, we can come up with a plan with this, because she knows what this potion is. And then she's like, Prince Charming, you could pretend to be the ogre as a human. Oh, and this also affects Fiona as well. She becomes human as well. So yeah, then there's this like royal ball where they celebrate the marriage of Shrek and Fiona, but it's actually Prince Charming and Fiona that's going to happen. And the king feels guilty about this. He's like, I actually changed my mind. The ogre's very sweet. So yeah. then basically like then basically Shrek gets there and like tries to stop Fairy Godmother and Prince Charming, because like the whole plan was like if Prince Charming kisses Fiona with like a potion that Fiona drinks, then like they can fall in love and everything, blah blah blah. But then basically so yeah, Shrek comes in and basically says that he comes in, basically says back off, and like a fight happens. Fairy Godmother like she and can't remember what happens to Prince Charming, but I think he like he goes away. So yeah, then they celebrate the marriage. Then that's it. That's the whole movie of number 2. So yeah, let's talk about number 2. Okay, so I mean, Shrek 2 was a good film. Like, Shrek 2 was a good film, but I kind of just saw a bit of the same storyline from, like, the first one. I mean, well, different, but sort of the same one. Basically, of, like, I mean, it was sort of, like, the same sort of, like, key points of, like, how you don't have to change for love and beauty is within. But yeah, and I mean, so yeah, I mean, it was all right, Phil. I mean, like if they just stopped there, that would have been just been like okay. Oh yeah, also I forgot to say that the king turned into a frog. So it was actually like the king queen were actually like Princess and the Frog type people. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it just the Shrek films. I mean, I liked it, but I just saw the same thing that I think happened in the first film. I think I just saw the same thing again. Like, yeah, I mean, good film, really good film. Like Fairy Godmother, she was really good. Like Fairy Godmother is a good character, like very good character. But like I said, I just saw the same thing over again. It's sort of, I mean, it's different, but I think, yeah, you know what I mean. But anyway, yeah, let me show you what the reviews are. Okay, so I was looking at the previous review, and basically for Rotten Tomatoes, it got like one like mark higher than like the first one, so it scored a bit more higher than the first one on Rotten Tomatoes, but it scored lower on IMDb on from the last one. Like it scored high on the I think it was like a 7.9 on the first one, and like a 7.4 on the second one. Yeah, 7 point, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, basically I think it sort of did well, but not too well. So yeah, anyway, now let's talk about the third one. So the third one's basically about so the king's dying and Shrek and Fiona are just filling in for the king whilst he's on for example, wait, what's the term? I think it's bed rest. So yeah, he's basically in bed whilst Shrek and Fiona do everything a king queen would do. Then Shrek's like, I don't think I can do this. Then when the king dies, the king tells Shrek basically there's another person that could do it. That's, I think, like a relative. and then the king then the king dies. Then basically, then it's like, you know, all sad. Meanwhile, Charming has Prince Charming's back, and he's like, I want to be king, you know. So yeah. Also, I just want to point something out here, that I do see a sort of similarity sort of thing in this whole story. It's just mainly about being king. Like, it's I don't think it's about Shrek. I think it's mainly about being king than Shrek. Anyway, let me carry on. Anyway, so Prince Charming's like, he rounds up all the like villains and everything, and oh yeah, there is Rumpelstiltskin, but in this version he's like taller, and he's got like a tattoo. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, so he rounds up all the villains, and basically Shrek basically sets sail to go find the future king, and Fiona says, "Oh, I'm pregnant," and everyone goes, "Woo!" But Shrek goes, "I don't think I'm ready." So yeah, then whilst they sail to find a new king, Shrek's basically contemplating whether or not he wants to be a father or not. So yeah. Then they get to the place, and they find out that the person who is going to be king, his name's called like Arthur. So yeah, Arthur's basically kind of like a loser where he is, but also Justin Timberlake voices Arthur, by the way. Just, I found that out recently. So yeah. And so yeah, then he's like, "Come on, you're going to enjoy it. You're the next king. Come on." So yeah, then they go on the boat and set sail back to far, far away. Meanwhile, Charming's like, this could be a great opportunity for me to be king, since there's no king at the moment. So Charming sort of like, you know, attacks the village and heads for the castle, and like Fiona and the Queen and like 4 other Disney princesses like Snow White and Cinderella and Rapunzel and everything basically sort of run through a secret passageway and run out this room. And Charming doesn't know that Shrek's bringing back the next heir until one of the 3 pigs blurts out saying he's bringing back the next heir, blah blah blah. So yeah, then Charming's like, I'm going to do something special for Shrek, since, you know, he's ruined my whole life. Charming. So yeah, then on the way back to far, far away, the boat crashes and Arthur and Shrek get into a fight. Then they walk through this like forest on this like island, and they see like how Arthur's like, someone Arthur knew has gone like you know, he left this place because he went crazy, but yeah, nervous breakdown or something. I can't remember. I think it was crazy. Anyway, so then they do this whole thing of like, this is like, you know, I'm sorry. Then they reconcile. I can't talk. You know what I mean? They forgive each other. Then they go back to far, far away. Then when they go back, Charming's like, I'm gonna put on a performance, and this time you're really gonna Shrek. So yeah. Oh yeah. Also, Rapunzel and Charming are dating in this, and it's pretty awkward to what they like. to what, like, you know, they go like, oh my gosh, I love you so much, but in like a cringy way. Anyway, so yeah, then basically there's this, the performance happens, and yeah, everything gets sort of like, you know, the princesses tried to stop this, like, you know, using girl power and all. So yeah, that was so weird. Then basically, yeah, then Fiona's like, I'm stopping this. Yeah, all the girls do it. Then they stop Prince Charming's performance. Then Arthur comes, like, because Shrek and Arthur had another fight. Then Arthur comes back and is like, stop this. Fighting isn't the answer. Then all the villains are like, you know what, that's correct. Then they don't fight. Then Charming basically is like, oh, this is just. Then Charming, so yeah, he yeah, I can't say DERDIE because I don't know if YouTube will allow me to say it. So yeah, so yeah, then Arthur becomes the next king. He becomes king. Then Shrek's okay with having kids, and that's basically the end of the film. So yeah, let's review it. So yeah. So before I show you the ratings, I've noticed that all the Shrek films have one thing in common, that all, like, you know, the male villains want to be king. And it is about Shrek, but I think it's more about being king than Shrek. Shrek's just basically the hero. I think it should be called King and not Shrek. So I mean, I love the Shrek films. They're amazing. They are really good, but I think they've just gotten worse and worse and worse. It's just because I don't think they've got no storyline to it. So yeah, that's why there's this whole thing of being king. So yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just, yeah. I wouldn't say it's good as, like, I wouldn't say it's definitely as good as the first movie. And maybe I think it's like a tiny bit bad than the second one. But I would say it's like 70% good and 30% bad. That's like, how about that? That's the way to look at it. So yeah. Anyway, let me show you the reviews for it. So looking from the reviews, it just got worse and worse. It just got worse. Like, I don't need to look at the other two reviews and like see which one's good and which one's bad, because this one just obviously just got worse. It's the same storyline. It's the same storyline of, oh, I want to be king. There's no, oh, I want to turn bad, but this time steal and not become king. It's just none of that. It's just none of that. So yeah, also, by the way, I do have like a speech thing where I will mess up my words, so I do apologize. I think I should have said this at first, but I did not. I also said I do swear, but I haven't sweared at all since I said it on my first video that I would swear. But who knows, I possibly will swear in the future. But anyway, so yeah, let's get back to the topic. So yeah, yeah, it's just gotten worse from the reviews. So I think that's when they decided to do, let's just do another movie. See how that one goes. So yeah, they did another movie, and this time also I'm going to explain it as well. So yeah. So this is the last Shrek film they did. And basically in this like film, basically Shrek's, like, you know, he wakes up every single morning, you know, feeds the kids, does, like, you know, some daily house life, and it's like same day again, like a simulator. But then Shrek's like, I miss my old life, and, like, you know, back when I was scaring children and scaring other people and going raw and all that. So yeah. I mean, I basically just said the same thing over and over again. But yeah, that's basically, he just misses that. And basically Rumpelstiltskin is in this now, but this time Rumpelstiltskin is short, and he's got like a baby face to him. He's got a big head and a small body this time. So yeah. And this time he's like this time in the sort of like in the sort of the movie, he's like, yeah. He makes sorry, I'm just trying to think of how I can say this. He basically, what he does in the movie is, like, he makes deals, like, wishes for people to come true, but he gets more power by it. So yeah. So yeah, anyway, so Shrek basically, he holds one of his kids' birthday parties. And he's like, yeah, I miss the times where I would scare people. So then he goes outside, and Rumpelstiltskin's like, you know, like, Rumpelstiltskin makes a trap, being like, hey, I'm stuck underneath this carriage of mine. And basically, Shrek helps him, and Rumpelstiltskin asks, like, he questions Shrek's, like, oh, are you bad or good, sort of thing. Then Rumpelstiltskin sort of like, you know, reminds Shrek of the good old days, and basically Shrek signs this thing, and he goes to an alternate universe. He also gives Rumpelstiltskin some power of, like, I think it's like memories. So yeah. Then basically Shrek does this whole thing, but he's like, I miss my family a bit, and he looks for his family throughout the whole sort of thing, and he's like, Then he comes to realise that Fiona's gone and his babies. Then he sees Rumpelstiltskin, and Rumpelstiltskin says, because, like, now Rumpelstiltskin is king. What a storyline. First of all, what a brand new storyline. Like, yeah. So yeah, Rumpelstiltskin's king, and he basically says to Shrek, oh, your kids don't exist because you gave up a certain memory. And then Shrek's like, oh, where's Fiona? And Rumpelstiltskin's like, I don't know, somewhere, and laughs. Then Shrek also sort of sees Donkey, but Donkey doesn't know who he is as well. Then they sort of like, Shrek sort of kidnaps Donkey in a way, then, like, be like, oh, you got to remember me, and Donkey's like, no, I don't. So yeah, then Shrek goes on this mission to find Fiona. Also, everyone, like, that, even though, like, Gingy and Pinocchio, for example, they're all different in this alternate universe. They're all different. So yeah, basically, like when Shrek finds Fiona, she's more like, you know, tough. Like, I don't need love. I basically fight for my own, because apparently no one saved her from the tower. She saved herself. So yeah, then Shrek's like, I can, like, how about if I make her fall in love with me? Then throughout this whole movie, he kind of makes her fall in love with her, but she doesn't really. She's like, no, I don't really see this, but she does. But just sort of fall in love with him, but she's like, I don't trust this. Nah, she's like, no. Then Rob Stiltskin, like, if Chuck and Fiona should share a kiss by, like, what was it, midnight or something, everything will go back to normal. And so he hires this, like, Pied Piper and sets out to get Fiona and Shrek. And also there's other ogres as well. So yeah, then basically, then the ogres and Shrek and Fiona run into the Pied Piper, and everyone sort of separates. The other ogres go to Rumpelstiltskin's castle, and Shrek and Fiona go far away with. Also, Puss is in this, but Puss is very, like, fluffy and chubby as well. So yeah. So yeah, then during this, Shrek and Fiona's like, well, Shrek's like, I know you, and he tells Fiona all these, like, things about her that she wouldn't tell anyone. So yeah. Because she wouldn't tell anyone this in this universe, because, like, she just looks out for herself and the other ogres, but mainly herself. So yeah, then Fiona goes back to the castle to rescue the other ogres. Then Shrek's like, I know what I need to do. Then he goes back as well, and he's like, let the other ogres go. And yeah, also Rob Stiltskin sort of, like, sends a message to everyone, be like, get Shrek, and I'll grant you a wish, using this piece of paper that basically gives him power, mainly. then basically, Shrek lets all the ogres go, but then finds out when Shrek gets captured that Fiona isn't let go, because Rumpelstiltskin says Fiona isn't mostly ogre, she's also half human. So yeah, then basically later Shrek and Fiona sort of fight Dragon, but then Shrek's like, hey donkey, woo donkey, make her fall in love with you. So yeah, then donkey does that, but that doesn't work. So yeah, then they sort of tie the dragon up, then they capture Rumpelstiltskin, then Shrek tells Fiona, this is what's going on in the real world, like how they have children, and he says all the names of his children with Fiona. Then she's like, oh, I know now. And basically they kiss and everything goes back to normal. Shrek's happy to be with his kids and Fiona as well. So yeah, and that's basically the end of that movie. Anyway, time to review it. So yeah. So again, I saw the same thing I've seen in the rest of the movies. The main plot about being king. And to be honest, I kind of like the sort of, like, I mean, to be honest, I think this one is also a very good one as well, but I don't think it did very well, though, if you know what I mean. basically, I think it, I mean, it's got a good plot of, like, you know, going to an alternate universe and, like, you know, finding the people you care about and making them realise that this is happening in another universe. Like, I mean, it's good. It's good. I will admit that. It is good. So, yeah, but it's just every single movie is basically like the same sort of plot of being king, and I think that's what is making the movies just, like, you know, like, suffer a bit. like it's making it suffer because it's like the whole plot is about being king. So yeah, anyway, let me show you the reviews. So from what I saw from the reviews, that this one sort of went back up. I think I just looked at the Rotten Tomatoes one. I only, like, went up a bit because this was like, oh, this is different sort of thing, like basically it's in another universe. So yeah, I think so. So yeah, but I think it's definitely sort of gotten a bit more sort of positivity. So yeah, so yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. Actually, no, wait, first let me say something. I also saw this thing, like, they're going to be a Shrek 5, but with such bad CGI. Like, I mean, sorry, animation. Like, my brain isn't working today either. So yeah, it's very bad animation. So yeah. So yeah, anyway, so yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. Please remember to like and subscribe because it will mean the absolute world to me. So yeah, have a nice day, night, whatever. Bye.